Hi, and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me in today's podcast. My name is Paul Fletcher, for those of you that are not familiar with me. And this is podcast episode number 4. And today's episode is going to be focusing on that everything has the source within. Now, this entire series, this is series number 1, is going to be focusing on the physical. And there'll be 7 or 8 in this series. Then we're going to go focus on the emotional. And then after that, we'll do a series on mindsets, attitudes, beliefs, those kinds of mental related blockages, and so forth. So I've got the whole year planned. So continue to come back and join the podcast. And if you're joining me on any of the different platforms that I'm posted on, you can subscribe. And I look forward to you always being aware when my new podcast comes out. As promised, today I do have a guest, and I will be doing a live healing with this guest. In the last 3 episodes, we spoke about what is Dow healing, and I went into explanation of what is Dow healing, and then why is Dow healing important. That was in the 2nd episode, and then just last week we did how does Dow healing work. And so this week and the next few weeks, I'm going to be doing actual Dow healing demonstrations. And if anybody is interested, you can find my website, wellspringoflight.com. And I'm happy to help you to learn more about healing for yourself. So I want to set up today's healing. And by touching on last week, how does Dow healing work? I'm going to show you a few slides after I do this healing, because I can tell you a little bit, but it won't really make sense until you witness it. So Dow healing is a form of transference of the pure, most positive frequency, love and light. And that's the same love and light that we originate from. And so when somebody is suffering or has challenges in any aspect of life, it simply doesn't matter if it's pain, which is what we're going to be working with today. It doesn't matter if it's a financial blockage or a relationship issue. It just doesn't matter the origin of that suffering or that challenge. The wisdom, when we talked about what, why, and how in the first 3 episodes, explains that the origin of our challenges, the origin of our suffering, is when we acquire negative information in our personal vibrational field. Or another way of saying that is our soul, which exists before us and after us, is a warehouse of the positive and negative information that we accumulate over the course of time. Much like you might inherit a disease from your ancestors, and that comes down through your DNA. Well, sometimes the wonderful things that our ancestors do, like helping others and building villages and supporting charities, well, those vibrations and frequencies remain in their field. It's not just a one-time action where they do a good thing and then it just dissipates. That one-time good action remained in their vibration. It remained in their field. Their soul recorded it. And then that then comes down to you in a very positive benefit. It comes through in that DNA and that frequency. And so the same is true when something unpleasant is occurring in our lives. Could be a relationship challenge. It could be a financial issue. These, for the most of humanity, we tend to put our hands up and say, that's outside in me. We don't look at it as something that we have earned. We don't want to admit if we have a tumor or we have something like that we actually brought that to us. We want to say instead that it's from drinking bad water or drinking pollution in the air or whatever. And it's not that that's not untrue, but other people who breathe that same air and drink that same water didn't get a tumor, you see. So why did you and why did other people not? And the bottom line is your frequency and vibration was a match for that. Somewhere along the line in this or previous times, you or your ancestors may have brought harm or suffering to others, creating unhealthy conditions for them, creating financial blockages, or relationship blockages. And since this series we're focusing specifically on the physical body, we want you to understand how can you heal your physical body. So I'm going to invite in a guest now. Her name is Joy. I met Joy probably about 2 or 3 months ago. She was referred to the membership programs that I've been a part of. And Joy is educated. She's a very smart lady. But doesn't matter how smart we are, pain affects all of us, right? And so I have a chance to invite Joy, and she'll share a little about an experience she just had recently. So let me invite her in. Welcome, Joy. Let me unmute you. There we go. Joy, please share a little bit about yourself and just maybe a minute or two about your understanding of Tao healing.
Well, I'm all about health and well-being. I'm a holistic nutritionist, and that's my gig. So I'm passionate about that. So when I'm not feeling my best, I want to do something about it, just not just accept it and suffer. And so I'm always exploring new ideas and new modalities of healing and wellness. What else did you want me to talk about?
Tell us a little bit about what you know about Tao healing, your experience so far.
Well, so far I've been amazed at how quickly the pain of a former injury a year ago is clearing up now that I'm using Dow and receiving Dow healing from various different people. It's just wonderful. I'm
Okay, so you had this injury. It was something like you fell on the left side of your body. Is that right?
the whole left side of the body hit the pavement pretty hard. And
Okay, and how did it affect your body?
well, the whole left side is having joint pain and a lot of in all of the joints, the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, the hip, the knee, the ankle on the left side, everything. So there's joint pain, and then there's also dysfunction because of the injury. And so with the left knee, I'm having dysfunction where as I try to walk, I can take a few steps and everything works fine. And then all of a sudden it feels like the knee stops supporting me and it kind of collapses. So there's the pain and the dysfunction I'm dealing with that. But the shoulder
Okay.
that was worked on last time is pain free now, and I can feel that it's healing. And I'm really excited about that. I haven't been pain free and able to sleep through the night in quite a while until I received that.
So let's let the audience know what happened. What was your pain level with the shoulder in about a year? Apparently, you said, and then how did this healing go about where you've had these good results?
Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, it was 12. And after one treatment with you, Paul, it actually the pain went away and it hasn't come back. So I'm just thrilled.
That is very exciting.
Yeah.
And what did you try prior to that healing to make it go away?
Well, before studying Tao, I was approaching everything on the physical level, and so I was trying ointments and chiropractor and all of these different things, which did help some, but not as quickly and as completely as the Tao healing works.
Okay. And so for our audience, what I did for Joy is I offered what's called a soul light operation. And this was during a live demonstration evening, actually. It was a Friday evening. There was like 30, 40 people there. Joy was one of the 3 people chosen. And other people had good results as well. One of the guys was Terry. He had COVID conditions. And so I gave Terry a crown chakra blessing. I don't know if you remember that. And the next day he reported that all of his major conditions that he wanted to transform, lack of clarity, body pain, there was one other thing. He said they're all just vanished. Now he's dealing with a couple other side effects of it. He said, but it was significantly better. So thank you, Tao Healing. But you received a Tao Light operation. And that's actually very, very powerful. I love doing those. They're so fun. They're so powerful.
I was really surprised. It was very subtle, and I felt very slow and gradually getting larger. A feeling of warmth in the muscle in that area of the shoulder, and just kept getting warmer and wasn't hot, but it was warm, and I could feel it. And as that got warm, the pain went away, and it hasn't come back. Thank goodness.
Yeah, yeah, and that's
Great.
we never make any promises. I mean, sometimes I have to do two, three, five, five healings before it'll make a difference. But one of
Well,
the
I'm
things we'll
ready.
explain. Yeah,
Bring it on.
well, just don't fall anymore, okay? And
Well, that's a good point. If
yeah,
if there was a 1-inch difference between the height of the 2 slabs of concrete on that sidewalk, and
yeah,
it was dark, and I didn't see it, so that 1 inch tripped me.
yeah. No, that'll do it. We have some out here. Just walking with our little girl, it'll trip you.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do today. Is I'm going to offer a healing again to a different part of your body that has also been impacted by this same fall you made. So tell us a little bit about what you'd like to focus on.
The pain has been around the back of the left knee and also around the kneecap. And as I walk, it feels like something's not supporting me, and then I'll suddenly feel like the leg is falling out from under me.
Okay.
And so I've been walking upstairs trying to strengthen the muscles that'll hold everything in place. And I'm going to
Mhm.
the chiropractor, but it's going to take more than that. There's some dysfunction there that I want to clear up as well as any lingering pain.
Okay. And so when you sit, is there any pain when you sit?
No, it's only when I'm standing and moving around. And I
Okay.
can only do that for a certain period of time before it kicks up.
Okay. So would you be willing to stand and move around a little bit and then give us a pain number?
Okay.
Thank you. And so while she's doing that, um, the what I'm going to do for Joy is I'm going to do the same kind of a healing. I'm going to do what's called a soul light operation. And what it's going to look like, you'll see me doing it, is I'm going to connect to her because everything is done at the level of soul. For anybody listening to this on a podcast, you might not see what's happening. And by the way, for anybody on a podcast that does want to see this, you can go to my website, wellspring.com, wellspringoflight.com, and click on the blog as I post all of these with the video on the blog. And then the blog also has the written words over it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to call her soul. I'm going to move my hand in a manner that's in essence cutting open the area of request, and then literally open up that area with my palms. And then I'm going to be moving my palms. And this, in essence, what it does is it starts to release the negative information that has gathered and is reflecting the difficulty in this area. And this is exactly what I did for her shoulder as well. Okay, Joy, tell us what's going on and what you discover walking around.
Well, it's early in the day, so I haven't walked around much. The pain level is not as high as it usually is. It's about 6 right now.
Oh, wow, you must be used to pain. For most people, 6 is pretty high.
Well, I was raised by a father who wanted a son, and I was the firstborn, so I was taught to be tough, strong, don't fight, don't complain. If you've got pain, ignore it. I mean, so I've got a very high tolerance.
Apparently, yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask you, Joy, to close your eyes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect. I'm going to call your soul. And this is the right knee or left knee because it's left side of your body, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So prepare to receive. Now I'm going to also invite the audience to pay attention to what's called the forgiveness practice. The forgiveness practice is very important to overall healing. And what the wisdom is if we have a suffering, a challenge, it's because somewhere along the line, we or our ancestors had brought a harm to others, right? It's that simple. Maybe one of Joy's ancestors had a pack of camels or a pack of mules, and they used them to move gold or salt or something like that across the plains. And those animals had very, very hurt knees. So we don't know the origin of the negative information that remains on our vibration in our field, but we do know that it's not accidental that it's there. It's the universal law of cause and effect. So when somebody receives a healing like this, it will work. to the level that the source wants it to. But when we ask forgiveness on behalf of ourselves and our ancestors, we can have a far better result. So Joy, silently, please repeat after me. Okay, you can do it silently. And dear the source, I'm so grateful for this opportunity to receive this love and light, this healing frequency and vibration for my knee. I'm very grateful for the healing I received for my shoulders. Truly, I'm very grateful for the lack of pain now in my shoulders. And I recognize that this fall on my left side might not have been as simple as just hitting the crack. Maybe I or my ancestors had harmed other people's bodies in some way. And maybe we did not have respect or did not resolve that harm to them in a manner that was positive. I wish to deeply apologize for any mistakes that I and my ancestors may have made, especially if others have been physically harmed by those mistakes. Deeply apologize. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to receive this love and light healing frequency and vibration today. Thank you. Okay. So now I'm going to do the soul operation. I ask my soul operation to turn on. The soul of Joy Lassiter, please come. Soul operation for Joy's left knee, front, back, kneecap, sides, ligaments, joints, tendons, everything that has been negatively impacted as a result of this fall and any negative information that might be associated with it. Please be positively affected by this healing as appropriate. Start. For those listening, I cut the area open. I have now moving my hands up and down and side to side, mostly up and down. And basically what I'm doing is I'm just clearing the negativity in the field. Although it's a physical movement, Joy is not in the same house as me. She's a distance away. The healing is occurring at the level of soul. If that doesn't make sense to you, you need to go back and listen to the first few teachings on what, why, and how Tao healing works. The soul is the carrier of this negative information. The heart receives that negative information and the mind processes it, which then led to the energy of her tripping over the crack, which led to the final physical result of her having pain in the knee and the shoulders and so forth. And so the healing that I'm offering right now is not to the knee. That's where the light operation is affecting, but what it's actually doing is it's affecting the origin, the cause. This light operation is in essence removing the negative information that originated the end result, which was the physical pain. The negative information could have been, in this example, like I said earlier, maybe overweight on camels or donkeys' backs by ancestors. We don't know what the originating cause was as far as the negative information, but that's what this soul light operation is actually affecting right now. And then I'm going to close, doing a spiritual suture to close the area and smoothing it over. Ha, ha, ha. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. And so we're going to let it just relax for a few minutes. Joy, I'm going to share with the audience a little bit on a visual here. Don't walk yet. I want you to just kind of relax a little bit, because one of the things that I want the audience to understand is that Tao healing is not healing the physical. It's not healing the emotional, the money. It's healing the origin of the problem. So that origin of the problem has to go through a few layers before the physical is affected. Sometimes Tao healing can be instant. Last week, Joy healing for her shoulder, it went down instantly. It stayed gone. Fabulous. We'll understand why in just a minute. And sometimes I've done a healing and it had no result. None. And I understand that, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not doing the healing anyway. But here's why. Because the healing was up here. It has to go through the heart, through the mind. The energy has to adjust, and then the physical representation has to go through that readjustment as well to reflect the change that occurred upstairs. I'm going to show you that visual in just a minute. And so the message I got, Joy, was to let it continue to assimilate for a few minutes. I'll come back to you in just a minute, okay?
Sure.
All right. So I want to share now a different screen. And this screen represents the wisdom that is associated with Tao healing. And this is the how do I say this? This is the spiritual approach to it. Now, for those again on podcast, you're not going to see this, so I'll try to describe it clearly. There is what's called Shen, Qi, and Jing, which is an ancient verbiage that represents, Shen represents soul, heart, and mind. Qi represents energy, Jing represents matter. And so on the next slide, when I break down soul, heart, and mind, soul is the same as a spark, a spirit, essence of source with all energy and matter. And what was the message of this title of this podcast? Source is within everything. Okay. And so source is within Joy's knee. Source is within every speck of energy, every speck of matter. Source is within everything. So when you hear the word soul or heal the soul, what we're saying is heal the essence of the source within you or within that body part, within that financial problem, whatever it might be. Everything has the source within it. The heart then represents the core of life. Okay, so for those on the podcast, try to visualize a downward flow like a waterfall, starting at the top, soul, which is spirit, source, creator, and then heart, and then mind, and then downward arrows going to energy and matter. Soul is at the top. Soul is the receiver of this positive information that creates good stuff in your life, or negative information that creates not so good stuff in your life. And the heart then is the receiver of that information, not your physical heart, but the heart of your soul, your consciousness of your original nature. Your knees have a heart. Your eyes have a heart. Your finances have a heart. Everything has this core of life within it that is the receiver of this information from your spirit, your soul. The mind then, which is given far too much credit, is actually third in the stream of five. So it's way downstream. People do mind over matter and have somewhat reasonable results. But sometimes things just don't change. And that's because there's two categories above the mind, which if they're not changed, the mind cannot be affected, no matter how much you try to change things at the mind level. So the mind is the processor. It receives this positive or negative message from the heart, and then the mind processes that either positive or either negative. Think of it like a computer that processes things. And it sends a message. Okay, energy has to start moving around to match this message I'm receiving from upstream. Well, if that message is negative from upstream, let's say an ancestor hurt somebody's knees, then that negative message comes through the heart. The mind processes that negative message. It puts it into the field, in Joy's field. Joy says, oh, I just tripped over a 1-inch concrete. But it was in her field that condition occurred. It's not that dissimilar from when a person has a car accident. And they have a car accident, and then 2 months later, another car accident, and 3 months later, another car accident. And they didn't do anything. Just people keep rear-ending them and hurting their back and hurting their neck. Why? Why? People say, they point outside of me, well, people don't know how to drive. No, internally, something was on your vibration where these were literally magnetized towards you. And so the universal law of Shen Qi Jing explains how this healing works. When I'm putting the slide back up, when we cognize this and understand that Dow Science, which is another teaching that I brought up in both 2 and 3 podcasts, I explained that Dow Science sees this scientifically, and they would say that your soul is a warehouse of information. and that your heart is the receiver of that information, your mind is the processor of that information, the energy of the chi in your body, the chi in your life, because chi is the actioner, right? Chi actions things towards you so you can have financial blessings. Chi actions things towards you so you can have a relationship. Chi actions things so that the end result occurs. End result is a relationship or good finances or whatever, or harmful conditions. Okay, so qi is the mover of information, and then jing, shen qi jing is the matter. Jing is the end result of that information. And so to simplify everything, because it's kind of hard to explain it on a podcast auditorily without visuals, in essence, all suffering and all success in life is related to the positive or negative information that we have in our vibrational field. And what Tao healing does is it empowers you, it assists you to transform that negative and enhance the positive. The different programs that I have through my website, wellspringoflight.com, will go over more of those different ways you can transform that negativity. Joy, let's check in with you. And did you get a chance to get up and walk around yet? Please do so. Yeah, I want you to do so we can.
I shouldn't move.
Yeah, no, you followed my guidance well. But go ahead and move around now. And then things have settled down. I want to see what's going on for you in terms of the shift. And do whatever you did before to measure that pain. See if it's changed at all. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. The times that it doesn't, what does that mean? Does it mean it's not working? It could mean that it's still filtering down. I've offered healings and no result. The next day I call the people. They say, yeah, it's completely gone. I don't know why it didn't work last night, but now it's just gone because it took time to filter down and for the physical, which is at the bottom of the food chain, to adjust. So, and sometimes it takes 4, 5, 6 healings because the negative information on the person's field is so significant that you just got to whittle away and whittle away and whittle away. And then right around the 5th or 6th healing, oh, okay, now the dam breaks and we're starting to get results. Okay, Joy, tell us.
So I'm feeling a lot lower pain level, and I'm feeling a lot less of the dysfunction. It's still there, and I'm just going to believe that it's going to continue to heal.
Okay. A lot lower. What number would you give it now? What number was it before?
It was 6.
It was a 6 before. Okay.
About
What was it now?
3.
Okay. Excellent. So we've had about a 50% result in basically a 5-minute healing. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm grateful. I'm very grateful.
It's kind of hard to get a 50% result in just a few minutes in most modalities. So I'm very happy about that. So thank you, Source.
Thank you, Source.
So I'm going to continue to work with Joy and continue to check in with her and assist her. There's different things that Joy can do to help transform this negative information. And I teach all this. But you can do forgiveness practice, some more of that, Joy. You can also find some Tao calligraphy in one of the books that Master Zhao has created, and you can trace that to help you to release that negative information. And if you're listening to this podcast, you're like, well, what is that? Then follow through the information that's in the chats and in the description area. And certainly there is more information available to you that can assist. During this podcast, I am live on about 8 different platforms right now. So I want to thank all of those that have joined me live. I see your chats coming in. I really appreciate that. And I will be back here next week for podcast number 5. Let me see, what am I going to be talking about next week? Let me take a quick look at that. Next week, we're going to be focused on heal the space and then heal the suffering. That'll be fun because you're going to learn more about the space in the body and how it harbors a lot of that negativity and what you can do. This a good healing demonstration for somebody like that, and someone that might have some breathing restrictions, high blood pressure. That's usually excess blockages in the space of the body. Okay, so if you want to be a demonstration person, make sure you contact me. Make sure you join the email list because those are the people I'll be pulling from first, everyone that's on my email list. You can find that at the bottom of my site. And all that information is in the description area. I want to thank you, Joy, for coming today. And thank you for being a guinea pig. I mean, a person I can do billing with.
Oink, oink.
Did a great job. I'll pay you later for saying all those positive things today.
Thank you, Source, and thank you for your service, Paul.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And thank you, everybody, for coming on live. Make sure everybody join my podcast, subscribe. I'm in all the different major podcast players out there. So until next week, we'll see you. Bye-bye, everybody.